terrorism that assassinates these like healthcare company CEOs. I'm like in favor of that.
So you are a fan of terrorism?
Just like one aspect of it, like not all of it.
Okay,
So
that's
I'm
crazy.
getting
That's a
Like
hot
conflicting
take,
numbers.
but all right.
you don't think these like healthcare companies should be like subject to like terrorist attacks?
No,
Uh, I
Oh, okay.
I
But
I
then just
like
like
I
measure the
don't
amount
think
of.
I don't think
I
terrorism in
don't
any
think
of its
like
kind of form is justified as a justified form of killing.
so. Yeah, I don't think any human life should be taken, even if that person is evil.
Oh,
I mean, if that
okay.
person is heinous, I'm in favor of labor camps instead of like death penalty. But I
What do
don't
you
think
think?
anyone should die.
What do you think Saint Aquinas says about capital punishment?
So yeah. So I was just about to
Be,
clarify. That's why, like I said, justified killing. So I am actually a proponent of capital punishment, right? But this the argument or the justification for capital punishment, right, is an argument for types of justified killing. I don't believe terrorism is the same thing as justified killing. You know what I mean? Terrorism is by definition, right? Like unjustified killing based on ideological or political reasons.
so
It seems to
like
me that
That's the definition of terrorism.
well,
the death penalty was
probably
meant to
not
like
agree.
Well, I mean, you may not agree with it, but that is the actual normative protocol for what terrorism
Yeah, but
is.
see, yeah, but look,
That's why it's a pretty
if
hot
you,
take if you're gonna say, well, I'm not like completely against terrorism.
I
Like
don't know
I'm
what to
okay
say.
with it using it in specific circumstances. For example, I endorse the use of terrorism against healthcare companies. Right? That's you're saying.
Yeah,
That's
but
what you're
look,
saying.
if you have a view, right, and that this view is that terrorism is one form of justified killing, unjustified killing, sorry. And then you try to sort of bake in this view into the definition.
Yeah, I
Probably
mean,
amount to
well,
question begging, right?
right. So what you're saying is that from your analytic perspective, you believe that the definition of terrorism is inherently question begging, right?
In your case, yeah.
Because what it presupposes is that unjustified killing, right, is always wrong. Is that
Well,
your
no, no,
argument?
no. Okay, the view is that okay. The view you're putting forth is that terrorism is one form of unjustified killing, right? And
No,
then
I didn't say one form. Okay, I'll go over the definition again. Terrorism refers to unjustified killing for political or ideological reasons.
right, okay, and then that's your proposition, right, or whatever like
It's
so
not the
suggestion that you have.
proposition, it's the definition.
hold
It's
on.
the normative protocol for what terrorism is. Here, let's find
Okay,
some
but
links.
definitions are propositional, like they
The
consist of
hold
propositions.
on. I want to say one thing. With the level of sophistication that this assassination like happened, you could use that same level of sophistication to like do either property destruction or like have like if you like blew up like if you evacuated a building and blew it up. That I mean it's depending. Like I wouldn't want property destruction, but like a loud noise or some fire bang bomb without causing any actual destruction would definitely be more like would be better than taking anyone's life, even if that person is evil.
Okay, but
That
then
would be preferred.
yeah, but then like the other person is. It seems to me that you're putting forth like some moral judgments, right? When you say it's unjustified, that probably has like moral contents,
I mean,
right? So
so
yeah, but hold on, I'm kind of responding to the other person.
fine. I'm sorry.
So yeah, that's fine. When you say it's unjustified, again, that judgment probably contains moral contents, and I don't think you can have it as if it was necessarily the case that terrorism has this like negative moral aspect about it, right? Like some person may think that it is okay on the moral level. That's unless you want to advance some sort of like moral objectivist thesis to the contrary.
I mean, that's the thing. I think, it purely fits even within an analytical framework, right? So insofar as the words that we mean to say actually correspond to the things that we say, um, I mean, even the quote unquote definition that I provided fits that criterion. The only kind of question begging, right, that you're, I guess, like assuming exists would be in how we establish justification, right? So I could see how you could see it leading to a form of question begging if what is, determined to be justified versus delineate justificate, justified killing versus unjustified killing, um, does not doesn't have like other propositions that support it sufficiently, um, because they don't meet the correspondence criterion. I can see you arguing that, but this is all post hoc rationalization from the definition of terrorism itself, right? So I mean, yeah,
Look,
I'm just clarifying the terms, right? So
right, yeah, but then like when you say the definition
maybe
of terrorism, you just mean like the definition that's found in the dictionary, right?
no,
Oh, you mean,
actually,
yeah.
actually, I mean, we have like, so there's like UN definitions of terrorism. There's like FBI definitions of terrorism, and these, I mean, they kind of modify and revise these quite often. Some are
Right, but then
broader,
like
some are more
it doesn't seem
generalized
to
than
me.
others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there isn't
So
going to be a way to like assess the credibility of each of these definitions, right?
That's the problem is we don't.
Because
There's no standardized rubric, right? You're just making a
right, yeah,
universe. You're
exactly.
just
It
trying to
just
make a universal appeal right now.
yeah,
like
look, exactly.
you
So
have to be very
really,
careful with your words if you like support something.
yeah, look,
Especially something like
what you
unjustified
just said
killing, because
concerning
unjustified killing is literally murder, right?
Yeah.
So like
yeah, right,
basically,
sure.
if you in the simplest form, in the reductivist form, right? Like murder for ideological or political reasons, is that terrorism? That's basically what you're asking, right?
I don't think that's necessarily the case actually.
Like for me, I'm okay with that, right? That generalized statement. I'm okay with that generalized statement.
Yeah,
So I
but
don't,
it's probably going to be
because
like
for
a
me,
bunch of
I don't believe
counterexamples
any
to that.
form of unjustified killing is acceptable. I don't.
Yeah,
Whether it's
look, I
for
don't think.
ideological reasons or whatever reasons. If it's not justified, it's not justified.
Yeah, but that probably faces like a bunch of counter examples. For instance, if I knew someone, right, and this guy like has a different philosophical position on like abstract objects than me, then I kill him, right, and then like my reason for killing him would just be our disagreement on that philosophical contention. Now I did that for ideological reasons, right? That's what ideology is. But then that would just be homicide. That wouldn't be terrorism.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, if in a liberal free democracy, if one if by consent of the if one of the rule of laws, right, that is being upheld, is quote unquote like the right to free speech, so to speak, and you aren't able to you aren't able to establish you know justifiability or sufficient substantiated proof for why the killing was justified, and the motive is implicated by ideological disagreement, yeah, it can be classified as terrorism. So
What?
obviously it's going to be context dependent, right? So it's going to depend on if you live in a particular society, right? Or you live under a cultural context in which, like in the case of liberal free democracies, you do like if you live under a set of laws that has a constitution that ensures that you have certain particular rights, like the freedom of speech, right? That's the thing. You wouldn't be able to discriminate to justify any sort of killing based purely for ideological reasons, right?
Yeah, but see, that wouldn't look. That would just be a motive. That wouldn't necessarily amount to a justification, right? As I said, we can just have a contention
No,
over
no, no, no,
any.
no. You're mishearing me. The motive isn't a part of the justification. The justification isn't where.
Yeah, look, I'm
No, no,
aware.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have to like restate it, or I could just like replay it back for you because I'm recording the conversation? So
Why,
the
why,
motive,
why are you recording?
if in the court of law you can establish that
Look,
there were
what?
any ideological,
Why are you
if in the
recording?
court, because we can and we should.
Yeah, but
So in
why?
the court of law, what I mean, you know, a lot of people record the Discord combos, right?
Yeah, but like who did I
You
say
are
that
you
I
So
want to be recorded?
you don't have
no
to. You don't have
no
to give
you
your
don't.
consent. That's the thing.
This is a
Like,
public
Yeah,
platform.
stop.
look, I
Yeah,
know, but like
this is like
it would
literally
be
public forum. Like you're
it
so
would
yeah
just be
yeah.
like
So
more
yo yo
polite for
so
you to
stop
say
trying to
that from the
derail the
beginning, right?
conversation. Like listen, you know,
Oh my
So
gosh.
so me or Basil
Whatever.
could tell other
you're
people
being
what you said.
yeah, you're just shifting the goalpost again, man. And you're not
I'm
sticking
not,
to
look, we
like the
can go
original.
back to like
Well, I
discussing
mean, you
that.
could just be
It's
being
just
disingenuous, right? So, I mean, we can go back to the recording and just take a timeout real quick to like review like what was actually said. Motive is applied,
look,
right? So in the court of law,
I'm not
in
retracting
the court
anything I
of
said,
law,
right?
right?
I'm kind of like
All that the prosecution would have to
whatever,
do
go
is
ahead.
establish that there was some ideological motive, right? So in the case where no quote unquote killing was established to be justified, and if motive can be established for ideological reasons, like these are two separate things, then yes, it would fit the definition of terrorism and not just murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what is ideological reasons?
You don't know what an idea is? You don't know what a
No, I do what an
political
idea
viewpoint
is,
is?
but you can like interpret it in a certain way, such that I would just like sort of push
These are
the
any
contention
like I mean
to,
usually it's going to be the case like these are either abstract or normative premises or propositions, right, that are held to be true universally.
What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Repeat what you said.
Like I mean no here's the thing. I don't like here's the thing. If you don't understand what ideology means, that's a
Oh,
you
look, I know,
problem. That's not a me
I know what
problem,
I
right?
mean. I know what
Like
I mean when I say
are you
ideology.
conceding that you're capable of abstract thought? That's really what it comes down to. Like if you don't believe that we can have like we can formulate ideas, then it seems like you have an issue with critical thought, or you're just being a universal skeptic and playing naive. Am I making any sense?
Okay. Are you done?
There are certain like conditions, right, that are required to have rational or critical discussion. So if you're
Look,
just
bro,
gonna if
I
you're just
can't,
gonna right,
I can't listen to you
that's the
talk for
thing.
like longer than 20
Even if you're
seconds. I
gonna
have
try to
like
play devil's
ADHD.
advocate, right, there's certain
Fuck.
axioms
Yeah.
that you still have to take to be part of the conversation, right?
Okay.
But if you just
You done?
if you wanna LARP around as a universal skeptic, this is a whole nother conversation at this point. We can take
Okay.
it there if you want, and we can talk about whether
I
one is
know, I
justified
know what I
to be
mean.
universally
I
skeptical,
know,
right, about any
I know what I
premise.
mean.
But
I know what I
then
mean when I
right, well,
say,
you're
oh
the
my
one
god.
that's trying to shift the
Look, you
conversation,
just
right?
talk for too long. Can I just like talk back, please? Okay. I know what I mean when I say ideology or use the adjective ideological. And I'm just saying you can have some kind of proprietary understanding of the words in a way they may push the discussion into something more fitting of the kind of suggestion you're putting forth, right?
So let me ask it to you this way, okay? Do
Do you
hold
understand
any?
what I just said?
No, I don't.
Okay, should I just like
Would you no
rephrase
no
it to you?
would you like to rephrase? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and rephrase first.
Yeah, sure. We can have like there can be contentions over semantics, right? And in the study of semantics, there is something called proprietary definitions, right?
Correct.
Now, when I personally use
So
the
I was just
word
about to ask you,
ideal,
right? No,
okay,
okay,
you're
okay, hold
cutting
on,
me
hold on,
off.
hold on. No, no, no. Yeah, I'm
You're
gonna cut you off.
interrupting.
So here's the thing,
Yeah,
okay?
look, I'm just gonna like
Right. So where I
not
was gonna leave, what I
listen
was
to
gonna
you
ask
speak.
you before we went on the side quest, because
Right,
I'm not,
didn't even tell you
here's
to
the thing,
stop
I'm not
speaking.
interested in like lecture, okay? So I'm not,
Look,
because
you've been
I'm
talking
not
for like
being
the
asked to talk.
past
So let me ask you this. Let me like I'm trying
like
to
7 minutes.
I'm trying to move the conversation forward. Let me ask you this, and I can do it. So do you yourself have a set of personal beliefs? Do you?
Yeah, it's trivial.
Okay, could you provide some examples of personal beliefs that you hold?
Yeah, for instance, I believe there's like a pencil on my desk.
I'm sorry, there's a pencil on your desk.
Yeah, that's what I said. Is that not a belief? Does that not amount to a belief?
I mean, is it something that's dependent on proprietary definitions?
Like in this case.
Like, do you believe that the fact that's the thing? To me, that seems more of like a statement of fact than it is of belief. You get what I'm saying? Do you understand the difference between a belief and a statement of fact? Like facts from like truth claims?
I know the
Like
difference between a
normative
belief
statements versus statements of
and
fact. Do you know
knowledge.
do you understand the difference, right?
I know the difference between belief and knowledge, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, great. So then the fact that you have, or the fact that you're saying that you have knowledge that there is a pencil, I mean, would you class, so again, the proposition that there is a pencil on your desk, do you believe that is a statement of belief, or do you believe that is a statement of fact?
I don't think these two are like mutually exclusive, actually.
Okay, so now, right, so now you're going to backtrack and say that there is no distinction between belief and fact, right? So now so see, here's the thing. So at this point in the conversation, right, and this is a problem for analytics, right, and universal skeptics alike. It's
I'm not
So how can you
universal
avoid
skeptic
equivocating
nor
between statements of
an
belief
LLA.
and statements of fact? Because clearly, prior to this, you were trying to, I guess, like appeal to this sense of holding proprietary definitions, right? So are these
Yeah.
proprietary
The
definitions
answer,
established based on belief or on statements of
the
fact? And you're
answer
saying that they can be
is just
one and the
quite
same,
simple.
right?
Yeah, the
So
answer is
how do
just
you
quite
avoid
simple,
how do
right?
you avoid the
In
apparent equivocation?
the answer is just simple, right? In well, according to like ordinary norms of language, the word believe can be used like synonymously with the word no. Or do you also like want
Kept
to
saying
disagree
things
there?
like,
I mean, one way around this. Oh, excuse me. One way around this analytical paradox is actually to say that, well, the
Does that like
only
answer
quote
my
unquote
question?
believable propositions or true propositions, or excuse me, so the only classifiable beliefs are true propositions. That's one paradoxical way to get out of that, right? But then
Was
you're
that a yes or
conceding,
no?
but then you're conceding, you would have to necessarily concede that we could in fact have knowledge of things that don't correspond to some material fact about the world, that's just simply not the case, right? Things like ideas like justice, fairness are unable to be accounted for if you presume that the only propositions that could be considered a belief are true propositions, right? So that's inherently viciously circular, right? So you're
Okay.
you're you're the
Like
one, right. But here's the thing: if you want to go
before you
there and
said
you want to
like
broaden
all of
your
this, I asked
definition,
you a
right? You
question.
want to keep it broad, like like if your understanding of proprietary definition, you're going to keep it as broad as it is, right? That it include both facts and beliefs. Then this is just going to collapse into a vicious circularity, right? So you're conceding, right, that you can have knowledge of things, not knowledge of anything more than just a set of material facts, correct?
All right, before you said like all of this, I asked you a question. Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So you
I
just
mean,
like
I mean, for,
ranted
for, for the
instead of
purposes of the
answering my
conversation, I
question.
mean, I pretty much demonstrated, right, that you can't account if you can't account for sets of facts or beliefs that are outside of the realm of like, you know, material fact, then
Look, I don't even think
it
you
seems
know
like
what
it
we're
seems
like
like
talking
you
about.
you don't you don't have a definition or understanding of proprietary definition that could exceed those parameters.
All
So
right.
what you
I
claim
just
to
want to
be
say,
a broad, category doesn't seem to be all that broad to begin with. So
right. I just want to say
again, we're
two
back
things,
to,
right?
yeah, okay, go ahead.
The first thing is, I don't think you even know what we're talking about. The second thing is, just to answer one of your questions that you posed earlier, right? You said whether my belief that a pencil rests on my
What is it,
desk
ladies and gents? We are
would be
back, and in
dependent
today's
on
video, we are going to
a
start the
certain
review.
number of
Before you
proprietary
start, know that you will
definitions,
need the
then the
tech
answer
to
would be
have
yes,
Bastion at a high
because
level to make your
it would
rebuttal
just
less
be some
defensive.
sort of
Otherwise, have skilled
it would just be the
technical
idea
assistance
put
preferred
forward
by
by
200
Wittgenstein,
minutes.
right? That your
Now, for the starters, the
personal
boss will begin with
sensory
a heavy
experience
attack that you will roll
of
block.
objects
After that,
probably
take
reduces down
position
to
away from
something
the
that
team.
only you can conceptualize, and that's basically what a proprietary definition is, right? So that's just to answer one of your like questions that you've sort of aired at me, but then like all the other rambles, sort of like can I just ignore them? .
So what's your definition or understanding of proprietary definitions again? Sorry.
I just gave you the definition.
No, you just made a reference to Ludwig Wittgenstein, and then that was it.
Yeah, and then I gave you the definition just after that, right?
Can you restate it or rephrase?
Yeah, look, a proprietary definition would just be some personal understanding or perceptualization of like
Some perception. Okay.
some locution, some sense
locution,
data, whatever,
Some sense-
right?
Okay, got it.
Are you writing this down?
Kind of. Go ahead.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I'm trying to keep track.
This isn't like some debate competition. You just need
Well,
to. chill out.
okay. Start from the beginning. Okay, perception, locution. What else?
What? Like, do you want me to enumerate like all of the things that you can have like a personal
I
semantic
mean,
of?
that would be that. I mean, that would be apropos because like all we have is a reference to Ludwig Wittgenstein's prescription for proprietary
You're
definition.
right.
Right?
Could I like give you more
So go ahead.
context for that?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, so
that would be
Wittgenstein-
parsimonious to me. That would be
Yeah,
the
so
most
Wittgenstein
parsimonious
has
to
this-
stick to the source.
Right. Okay. Wittgenstein.
So I don't
investigates
understand
this
how you
idea.
believe that it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, that's just your personal feelings at this point. Why don't you keep your personal
Okay.
feelings out of it and actually, do the analytic?
Okay. Wittgenstein sort of proposes, or okay, Wittgenstein investigates this idea of what he calls the private language argument, right?
Okay.
Now, the private language argument goes like this. Now, if I have like my own personal, conscious sort of, like experience of things around me, that's something that you don't have epistemic access to. Now, if I have this sensation that occurs to me every day at 4 p.m., and then I go to like my notebook and I write S, and S references this like inner sensation that I experience every day at 4 p.m., right? That would be an instance of a private language, because when I hand down this notebook to you, S would not reference the same thing that I mean it to reference, such that S is or has a proprietary definition of its own.
So what do you understand Wittgenstein's investigation to implicate? Like, what do you? So are you kind of get what I mean? So are you saying that Wittgenstein's investigations is the definition for proprietary belief?
Well, it could help us achieve a definition for proprietary belief, but it's not. Like,
Are you aware that the
about that.
reason why Wittgenstein does the investigation? So you've read the Tractatus, right?
It's not in the Tractatus, it's in philosophical investigations.
No, I understand, but do you understand the reason why Wittgenstein argues or
Yeah,
does
because
this
he's gonna say-
investigation? Because he's saying that private language is inconsistent. That's his argument.
He's not going to say it's inconsistent. He's going to say a private language would just be incomprehensible to like someone else.
Yeah, so then how can it but that's the thing. So you're saying that earlier in the discussion, right? You're saying that an ideology is just reducible to some, proprietary definition, right?
I said it could be,
Okay.
just like any other word could be.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see how that would be inconsistent. If you can find a motive, right? If you can establish a motive, right? And we'll just replace proprietary definition, right? For ideology, right? In this case, you would only, so if you couldn't substantiate the justification for the killing that occurred, and you could, all the prosecution would have to do, right? Or if the prosecution could prove that there was motive
This isn't
involving,
legal
hold on,
discussion. I don't know what you're referencing.
proprietary definitions, then yeah, that could be classified as terrorism. I would be okay with that.
This isn't a legal discussion. You understand that, right?
No, I mean, the definition of terrorism that we have is a legal definition. It's a normative
There's
protocol.
just the definition. Look, the definition.
No.
That
You see, here's the thing.
you're
There's no,
adopting.
there's no.
Right.
You see, that's the thing. If you want it, I mean, So you're going to contradict your own statement, right? Or your own appeal or your own understanding of proprietary definition. If you're just going to if the definition of terrorism is not a normative protocol, then what is it? It's just another proprietary definition. Is that what your claim is? Do you see
Like, the
this vicious
definition of
circle that you're
terrorism
stuck in as
can
an
be
analytic?
anything. Okay. Definition of terrorism can just be anything, right?
Okay,
Now,
so now you're just going to
you're
shift
just-
the goalposts. So now you're going to appeal to anything, right? So this is just you're just
No,
shifting
no,
the
no.
goalposts
Look,
again.
this is why I said terrorism, or the word terrorism, can have a proprietary definition, because you can just input any semantic content in
no
there.
no
It
no no
doesn't really
no.
matter.
Okay, so again, right? If the definition, right, of terrorism, right, is unjustified killing, right, for ideological or political reasons, right,
Yeah.
motivations, and what you're saying is that ideology can be defined as private proprietary definition, right? And then now you're shifting the goalposts
not
to
what I
say
said,
that
man.
no, the idea of terrorism itself can be considered a proprietary, definition.
Yeah. Look, earlier, if you don't remember, I said every word
Do you see
can
how
have
you're
its
shifting
own
the
proprietary
goalposts now?
definition.
But right. So now you're working from a set of proprietary definitions about your idea of what terrorism is.
I'm not even like
Because that's
stating my
not
personal
how
beliefs.
that's not how the definition of terrorism is established, right? As a
Look,
normative
there is
protocol.
no way to establish like a fixated idea, a fixated definition of anything. You're just like not
So you're I
succeeding
mean,
in understanding that.
ergo, you are a universal skeptic. You don't believe that we can have any kind of normative protocols, even if it's a function.
Look, you
of
can
the,
just have
you
can just have
even
some
no,
set
no,
of
so
norms
okay. I'm trying.
dictating how ordinary
Yo,
language
hold
is
on. Let me
used,
clear it
but
up.
that's not
No,
going
you're
to
shifting
be. Oh my
shifting
God.
goalposts. Stop detracting from the line of reasoning, sir.
Dude, stop being
You're
like a fucking
detracting from the
retard.
line
You're
of
not
That's what
letting
I'm
him
saying.
finish,
Excuse me,
though.
sir.
Abysmal.
Okay, so
Sorry,
let me
but
try
you're
to
not letting
reframe. Let
him
me try to
finish.
reframe, okay? Oh my God!
Okay.
Oh, I can't. I just lost my train of thought. So, are you saying that? So are you then conceding, right? Are you conceding that we can have normative protocols even if we accept the functional utility of corresponding propositions?
Yeah, the answer is I don't understand your question. And
So
then let me just try to
you're
finish.
rejecting the correspondence theory of
Look,
truth
the answer is
altogether, right?
the answer
So
is
the whole
I don't
premise,
understand your
the
question.
whole
I'm not
so you're
rejecting anything.
So do you see how ridiculous this how absurd it becomes?
I
At
said-
the end of
I
the
said
day,
the
at the
answer-
end
I
of the
said the
day,
answer
you're
is
just
I don't
conceding
understand your
the whole
question.
premise,
How is that
right?
me
For your
adopting any view?
analytic understanding. That's
Look,
what's
okay, are you
inherently
done?
circular about
Are you
this.
done? Are you done?
So,
Right.
so,
Don't
so
go
I mean,
back
I
to
tried
me.
to
You
reframe
asked
in the
me-
best way. You
Right,
would
okay, you
deny
asked
you
me
would
a
deny
question.
that language has any utility and function as well, right? So
Okay,
you don't
you asked
believe
me a
that
question.
any normative protocol
asked me-
can be established from the correspondence between propositions, right?
Abysmal, he's not even listening.
I
Just
know
let
he's
him
not.
finish
But I
his
know.
point.
You
I
asked
mean,
me-
I
you're
recorded the
asking me a
conversation,
question,
so
right?
like, I mean, we
Look-
can review it again. I mean,
Yeah,
so
look,
he
I don't
kind of
wanna
came in
review
here, right,
an hour-long
projecting that he
conversation.
has this analytical
don't want
way of
you to
looking
give,
at
like, a
things.
recap
And when
of
he actually
what we
gets
talked about.
pressed on the idea, because so Nick, before you got here,
Yeah.
we were discussing the terrorism that was happening in Syria, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, this kind of terrorism is unacceptable and that kind of stuff. And I was like, and then, I just kind of like threw it out there. We were just talking, like, we were talking about, yeah, I mean, this is like a form of terrorism. And then he started asking, well, what's your definition of terrorism? And I was like, well, I mean, for me, it would be something like, unjustified killing for ideological or political reason. And that's pretty consistent with all the other definitions that we have, right? Either from the UN or FBI or blah, blah, blah. And
Can
he's
I
like,
just,
well,
like,
I
respond
believe
to what you
his
said,
statement was,
like, a bit
he
earlier?
was like, no, well, I believe that terrorism is okay in certain situations. So I was like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? You believe that there is justified killing for ideological and political reasons? And then he starts saying, well,
I
so
said
then
yeah,
obviously
right?
he has to clarify what he means by ideology, right? So then now he's saying, well, it's
Exactly,
determined
yeah.
on a private, and then he's
I
saying
mean-
that, and then when I press him on this and we clarify, then he's like,
true.
oh, well, the idea of terrorism is a proprietary definition as well, right?
All right,
So
are you done?
so
No.
basically he's forcing into a position where he has to accept for for
Yeah,
his
you
early
gave
if
with
we
your
go back to
personal-
his earlier statement about how he's
get
endorsing
recap
terrorism in specific
what we
cases,
talked about.
then he's saying that he's literally saying that it is normative
No, I
and
get you.
okay.
Bro, look, I don't
he's
think I don't think this
okay.
guy's aware
He's
of like
he's
how annoying he
okay.
is.
He's okay with killing for proprietary definitions.
It's just
That's
I want
that's
to hear,
that's
no,
what
no,
he
stop,
ultimately
stop,
has
stop.
to accept. If he
I
doesn't
wanna hear
accept
his
any
opinion.
normative
About-
protocol for what terrorism means, then it's just based on his private definitions, right? When
All right, are you
and then
done?
and then
Can I
he
just, like,
he makes
talk
these
now?
he makes this arm's
Bro,
length
do you,
appeal to
like
Ludwig
talking to
Wittgenstein
yourself?
about how Ludwig Wittgenstein has
This
this
guy just, like,
investigation of
has
what private language
conversations
is, right? And
in
private
his
language
head.
games is.
Right.
But the whole
Yeah.
point of Wittgenstein's work is to demonstrate the reason why he investigates
don't start
private
pretending
language
that you've
games
read,
is to
like,
is to
any books in
demonstrate
your
the
life.
inconsistency of private language games or privately held definitions.
Okay. What
I
are you
Like
still
this
wanna
is
hear
okay,
him.
are
like
you done?
does
Can you
everybody
just-
see
can you
does
just, like,
everybody
stop
see
talking
see
for a
here
second?
like the kind of logical conundrum
Bro, look,
that
no
this
one
guy
is, like,
that
too
this guy
interested in
is
you.
stuck
You're
in
not talking
because
for hours
he
and
believes that
hours on end, right?
terrorism
Even
is
this guy is
okay in
asking you
specific
to shut
You're
your
not
circumstances.
a
fucking mouth.
Truman Show, bro.
Yeah, bro, look, this isn't a
You really have
podcast.
to.
Like,
Yeah, let him talk. Let him talk. You're just completely.
Well, I
controlling
mean,
the
Nick, I
conversation.
mean, to be fair, like you just joined the
oh my god, he's
conversation.
gonna talk
I
for like
did.
another hour.
No, let's
so
go.
I kind of had to
Mediterranean.
like recapitulate. So I mean, this
No,
is
no,
why.
look, no
so
one
you
is-
were
I
asking
got it.
earlier, why do we record these Discord
Look, he's gonna
conversations?
talk. He's talking. again.
Because because we have
He's
to keep.
talking
We have
again.
to. I
He's
mean,
doing
if
it
we're gonna
again.
have
Look, he
any sensible
cannot, be
you know
quiet.
progress in the conversation, we have to be able to hold people accountable for
Dude,
the
there
things that they
hasn't been
say.
any
As
progress
simple as
because
that.
like you're not even listening to what you're saying.
Yeah. I want to
Okay,
hear his.
are you
point
done?
now. Let's go. Don't ask him like this.
Yeah.
This is just provoke. Go.
Oh, okay, Nick.
Let
Nick,
me.
I'm
let
gonna
me
mute
just-
you
oh my
because we don't
gosh.
need
Oh
moderation.
my
No, I'm
gosh.
not.
All right, go ahead, Mediterranean.
Yeah, look. Let me just explain like your confusion on a bunch of things, right?
No,
one of
stop
them,
the
he
gish
said-
galloping. Stop the gish galloping.
All right.
So
I'm
the,
not gonna like. I'm not
so
gonna talk
so
to you
where
if you
we
just interrupt.
where we left off was okay.
All right, look, I'm just gonna mute you.
So the last thing
just,
I
like,
said
interrupt
was
too much.
okay. Well, you can't locally mute in here, Mediterranean.
Yeah. Hold on. He's local. So you locally muted Abysmo. Can you not, because that's against the room's rules.
Now look, this guy just like talks over me.
Okay,
I-
that's a fair criticism.
I mean-
all right, but but you know, we're not. I'm not, well, personally, I don't feel it's cogent or intellectually honest to just have you address like all sorts of points that you're claiming, right, that are being erroneously, because that's just a form of gish galloping. Are you familiar
Oh, okay,
with
but
what
like
gish galloping
it's okay
is?
for you to do the
It's
same.
when no. It's when you launch a series of critiques,
Look, you just did
right?
that like
In
a
the
minute
hopes
ago.
that your opponent is not going to be able to address all of those points of
Yeah, but look,
critique,
you just did
right,
that like a
within
minute
the
ago.
allotted time.
Oh my gosh.
It's a debate tactic,
Oh my
sir.
gosh. Look,
It's a
you
debate
did
tactic.
that, like,
So let's,
a
if we
minute to
want
2
to,
minutes
if we
ago.
want to get
You
back
did
to
the same thing.
to
you
where we were in the
fucking retard.
conversation, Mediterranean. If you want to continue
Look,
to engage
you
with me,
just
I'm just
did
giving you.
the
Hey,
same
I'm
thing
just
you're accusing me
giving
of
you.
doing.
I'm just giving
You're a
you
fucking
a
moron,
point
an
of
idiot,
reference that we can both start
complete
from,
fucking
and that would
dipshit
be
that
the
doesn't even
last
understand
thing
anything
that
what he
I
talks
claim
about.
that you were saying. So you can either choose to clarify it or restate your position, and that is.
Look, you don't
do
even
you
know what we're
believe
talking
then-
about. You're like completely
do you-
fucking lost.
Well, do we like I'm about to
Look,
restate it, okay?
You don't
so
even
the
know
last
what
point of the
proposition
conversation
you're, like, contending.
was
You don't know. Oh my gosh. Look, can you just
okay. So again, you're a universal skeptic, so it's okay for you to. All right. Anyways, I don't know, Supreme. Here's the thing. I don't want you to feel like Supreme that you don't have to critique anything that I was saying. All right. But I mean, for all intents and purposes,
I have to be
Like-
more well read.
it was pretty clear he was being circular.
Kind of. Right.
I mean,
I wanted
all we
one
were
of the last
asking
debates,
him-
I wanted
sorry,
to
go.
ask like one of the last debates. I was like, I asked like, what how do you do an external criticism on a contradiction? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
And
I-
of course-
I thought it was pretty. It was a pretty. I just don't think he understood the stakes of claiming that terrorism could be okay in specific situations. When the I mean, and then that's when we got into the definition of what terrorism is, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think he said something about like healthcare, and then I was like, I a good way to like go to the definition of unjustified is like, could you deliver that political message without killing someone? And with the amount of money spent on assassinating that CEO, you could have easily like burned a field, like done like less harmful ways of delivering that message. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.